am starting a series with fruitarians or raw vegans that are not afraid to eat fruit and vegetables and are not consuming supplements. So the first guest in my series is Eli Martyr, FreeMelon Society. So we're gonna wait for him to join us. We are gonna talk about supplements and why they're a scam. And we're gonna start with B12. First of all, Eli, I want to know, they know everything about you now. I did your whole biography, so we don't have to introduce you, okay? So I want to know, where do you get your B12 from? Am I the first person to ever ask you this?
No, not at all. Not at all. But just for the purpose of this, it's good to flesh out some context. This depends on how fast you want to move through things, what type of answers you're looking for.
What do you say to people that ask you this dumbass question? What do you say to people?
In a pinch, I would say that, first of all, Mother Nature took care of you. Okay, consider how long we've been on the planet, and we never had any need for any of these considerations. Sometimes I will get the reply, "Oh, but the world is different now," right? Which it is, but it's not so different that you need to invite toxic chemicals into your system in order to supposedly get what we're calling B12. Now, the problem is that people don't know and understand what the vitamins that they're taking are. Like, they don't understand the nature of them. They don't understand the industry behind them that has produced them. They have bought assumptions that the scientific community has injected into this idea of supplements are something that you can use to supplement your diet. So they have bought these assumptions where the scientific community got their fate or deserved the fate, or deserves to have this fate in these assumptions. I'm not sure, because it certainly isn't borne out in the experiments and how they create these things. So, and I've spent a bunch of time looking through this because this is something that really bothered me ages ago when I was a kid, not having the resources, the vocabulary, anything to understand or start questioning this in the right way. But it bothered me that we seem to know all these things about what happens in the unseen world, yet I can never, ever, ever be shown what the experts are seeing that allows them to come to the determination that they do about the properties of the thing that I'm eating. If it's so obvious to everybody out there, why can't I find a single example with the resources that are publicly available to me? If I wanted to build a chair, for example, I know I'm giving you a bit of a long-winded answer, but
No, you're going to translate your own answer in a minute.
Yeah.
For the rest of us.
So if I wanted to build a chair,
Yes.
example, I can go onto the internet, I can find meticulous detailed instructions on how to do that. I will be shown the materials that it's made from, sourced from. I'll see how those materials are actually worked into arrangements, how they're processed, and how they're put together in the chair. And then I can hold the chair out in front of me, I can see it, or I can see video of someone else doing it, and I can have a very definite understanding of how to build a chair, how or where chairs come from. Okay, good luck finding such clarity on vitamin B12. Good luck. All right, just try to find a set of pictures or video of B12 in action, or an actual photo of what B12 is that is in any way coherent, that would allow you to have the confidence to say that it does such and such and such and such and such in the body. Good luck. You're not going to find it. Not going to find it. Why don't we go through? Okay, let's go through a bit of a hilarious process of how B12 is, right? Okay, so you start with genetically modified corn syrup or some sort of sugar, right? Now we're talking about industry here. So industry is always the default bottom line is make profit, right? So they have no choice. They always have to cut corners. They always have to do the cheapest thing. Otherwise, you're a bad business. That's just how it works. So you're always looking for the cheapest type of syrup or glucose or sweetening agent that you can possibly find. So it's usually GMO corn, maybe sugar beet juice or processed corn juice or something, right? And then you add a whole slew of it gets a bit wild, unspecified organic toxic materials, organic solvents, um, cobalt, proteinaceous matter that can be sourced from a massive slew of organic sources. We're we're talking about wastewater, so I can talk about this afterwards in a different for a different question. But wastewater, so industrial wastewater can be sourced as an organic material that they sell to a company in order to manufacture vitamin B12.
I always say these people are full of shit, and now I know they are. Continue.
Yeah, no, that
Continue.
would actually be literally correct. Like literally correct. See, yeah. So then what they would do is they have this sugar product, okay, and then they dump a whole bunch of natural materials into it, right? Let it ferment, and essentially that's not enough, right? So that's not enough. So what they have to do is they have to add into that soup now a massive slew of hyper toxic materials, incredibly toxic materials, um, cyanides, acetones, this is like a nail polish remover, alcohols, methanols. They do all of this stuff. They throw in all of these chemicals. They'll filter in some way, like with a sieve of some sort, and then they'll have to dehydrate, add more chemicals, and what is produced? See, this is why I would have loved to start from the very beginning and go through context.
Well, you should have fucking been here at the very beginning when we could have started at the beginning. But Eli, continue because you change lives when you talk. I'm taking notes. I hope you guys are taking notes too. Continue, because we want to get to the everything. There's so much to talk about.
There's a whole bunch. Anyway, by the end of by the end of this process,
Yes.
okay, you started by fermenting a sugar, uh, absolutely a GMO sugar, okay, 100%, and you fed it a whole bunch of very, very, very disturbing organic toxins. All right. This and the bacteria will ferment, and then that's not enough. Then your next job when you're producing B12 is to dump industry chemicals all over the crap, just a whole bunch of them. Then you're gonna dehydrate it, desiccate it, throw more chemicals on it. Okay, after all that's done, and then you'll filter, and then the result that you get from that, this is where the magic comes in. This is where the magic of science comes in. They simply call it B12. At, they just call it B12. Okay, so
I can't do it.
it's very difficult to understand because it's confusing to begin with, right? Science, science has a very, very difficult time, all right? And I need to go through context building to understand how we get here in the first place. But if I'm skipping a whole bunch of it and I'm cutting to the end, all right, There are a slew of reasons why society has been created and erected in the way that it has. Okay, starting from the Renaissance in 1300s to the 1600s, moving down through the Enlightenment philosophers that gave us this confidence in the human mind, in the human spirit. We were trying to break away from the old shackles of dogmatic theology, right? And this authority of hyper religious rule and mysticism. So we're trying to break away through all that from all these ages. And we come up to the Industrial Revolution now, where we've been through this process where we are beginning to develop a feverish pitch to glorify the human mind and the scientific process, and literally breaking away from everything that is godly and the rules of God and the rules of nature. We want to literally play God and fashion the world in our own image. Literally the exact the satanic thing, right? The devil, the how it operates. It's the adversary. So now we're into the Industrial Revolution, getting into the 20th century now, and we're just obsessed with mechanizing things. We've developed machines to do everything, and this obsession starts to build in the human mind that the elites of society, the world engineers, they want to do the same thing with life itself. Okay, they want to control life itself in the same way that they've controlled material resources, because there's this playing God fixation in their minds. Okay, and it's that underlying mental ideology, okay, that has impaired the scientific community's ability to think. And it has caused what I was leading to, where I stopped off, say, right? Where they have the sludge now, they just call it B12, like whatever, right? The reason that they feel they can do that is because there is this deadly fear with not knowing something. The scientific community loathes something that they cannot understand, that is beyond them, and they have a very difficult time admitting that there is an aspect of nature that is completely beyond them, more intelligent than them, has been designed by some intelligence that transcends human thought. No, no, this is anathema to them. Absolutely not. So it is better to just pile on a theory and an explanation that makes no sense, that your experiments and your conclusions absolutely did not arrive at, but they fixate on a theory or an explanation, and they use that, and they try to cram in the experiments regardless of what is produced in the experiment, and they try to mold that to their theory rather than the other way around. And that's the problem. So with B12 now, that process of highly adulterating something with chemicals and just rank nonsense. It'll drive you nuts. Like you go into this, it'll drive you nuts how childishly silly these processes are. The whole period, I know I'm digressing a little bit, but I will get back on track in just a second. The whole period of the vitamin discoveries that took place in the 20th century, based on rank nonsense. Literally, chemists just monkeys throwing crap at each other. Just silliness, just silliness, and they just arbitrarily decided that the vitamin exists. A whole slew of they exist, but the tests that they use to come to those conclusions do not lead them to those conclusions in any logical way. Okay, if that makes sense.
Yes. Where did you, okay, hold on. There's so much to unpack, but you're a very important person in the raw food movement. So I pray you don't have a B12 deficiency, because we need you, Eli, because you do the research, and people just ruminate on their fear and then click on Amazon link and get their B12 because it's, you got to be safe. Why not just take it just to be safe, just to be safe? So now my question is, I just want to know, where did you learn to not fear, or how did you learn, or have you always been this way, to not fear what other people are fearing? Because everyone is taking B12 because of fear and you are not. So where did you get this like confidence from, or have you always been like that in general?
Okay, so I've never really bought into and believed the whole supplement thing. It was just never part of my upbringing, save for maybe a couple of years when I was literally a kid, a baby, fresh from being a baby, and your parents give you vitamin, children's fun, colorful
Flintstones.
vitamins. It's just the nonsense, right? Now, that didn't last for very long. I don't think my parents really believe it anyway. They're parents, so they're just trying to do the best, right, for their kids. But so that didn't last for very long. And then I had to adulterate my body for several years when I'm growing up, right? Like a lot of people. But luckily, when I started catching on to the fact that there is a healthier way to live, one of the one of the first things I recognized or learned was that processed food is not good for you. I mean, any health book will tell you this. Any health book will tell you this. And I can see what processed foods are. And then I see on the shelf, I see a whole bunch of supplements. And they look eerily similar to processed foods that I'm told that I'm supposed to avoid. Eerily suspicious. Not only that, but they also look eerily similar to the other drugs in the pharmacy that nobody would even dare take as a nutritional thing, which is ironic because they are literally one and the same. They are literally one and the same. Um, all of those vitamins that we're all taking for health, for better fitness, all of them, they are produced by the exact same monsters that produce the horribly toxic medical drugs. They are the exact same ones. They are not different whatsoever. And all that represents is a conglomeration, is an aggregation of corporate entities that want to make as much money as possible. There's more to the ambition, but that's just that money is really not what motivates these people. They already have all that. There's more, but
Yeah, we're not trying to get canceled now.
yeah.
We're trying to keep the live going.
Yeah. In order
Can
to
you
make
say
it,
that again? Aggregation of, I mean, this
oh,
is fucking
I don't
good,
know what I
man.
said.
Yeah,
It's
you don't even know.
some sort of
Oh,
aggregation of corporate monsters.
yes,
Okay,
thank you.
an aggregation of corporate monsters.
That's good, man. Okay, continue. I'm sorry.
All right. So they get together, and what they do is they understand the human mind. They understand you better than you know yourself. They understand me better than I know myself, right? They're very cunning. And so they know that there's going to be a certain subset of the population that is health oriented, that don't go to doctors. They don't have anything to do with that institution because they don't believe they're whatever. So they say, well, we're missing on whatever percentage of the demographic it it doesn't go to doctors and use these pharmaceutical drugs. So we'll just create an entire other industry and dress it up as if it's has nothing to do with big pharma, and we'll just psyop you.
We'll sell it to these dumb fucks.
We'll just sell it to you, dress it up with pay the influencers,
These healthy dumb fucks. Yes.
dress it up with have private labeling, right? All of these health products, the natural products, it's just companies going and outsourcing. They're getting private labels on big pharma corporations that produce the actual vitamins that they want to use in their particular healthy products. And then they pay, and then you can put whatever the hell you want on the labeling, because vitamins and supplements are not regulated. Like, it's a free for all. You can can start up a company if we want tomorrow. We don't need anything. We just need enough money to buy the products. We go shopping, buy a whole bunch of pre-made fabricated chemicals, and then throw on all of our organic and feel good butterflies in the air.
Watermelons. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, now, Eli, I know people are going to ask this question. And if you guys have questions, put it in the question mark and I may get to them if it's a good question. Don't waste our time. But listen, people are going to ask. They're going to say, okay, but what about these private label? Okay, you said private label, but what about these raw vegans that make their own supplements? We're not going to name names, but there's raw vegans that make their own supplements and it's super high quality. Everything is tested. Everything is super, super high quality. What about those kind of supplements where it's like very small company and it's from, it is just like the best of the best and it's from a raw vegan or a long-term vegan or whatever? What would you say to that supplement? Would you take that supplement?
No.
Why?
Okay. I wouldn't take that supplement either. Okay. Uh, to finish off your last question, you asked why I don't take those things, or why didn't I? And yes, okay, all that I just said, it's because I'm kind of recognizing that, and just going back to the simple thing of eat food, right? I think I understood that very early, and so it didn't matter what the world was telling me. I see a box with yellow pills in it. Something about that screamed at me, it's not food, don't eat it. And it was only later that I understood how right I was in coming to that determination. Okay, so now your next question. The it's the natural supplement, it's the natural vitamin, right? Uh, why would I not take that? So I've uh, y- sometimes I snoop and I peep at some of the products that a lot of the influencers in all of the communities. I could take a look at what they're selling, and it's it's like, because these are shelf stable products. Any way you slice it, these are shelf stable products. They're powdered, fractionated, shelf stable products. Okay. Now, if we can all agree, everybody out there listening, if we can all agree that Mother Nature did not produce shelf stable products, okay, that's something that we should consider.
I thought we got into the I thought we got into the raw food movement because we agreed on, okay, so let's just like clarify this. I thought we all got into the raw food lifestyle because we agreed that if it's not alive, if it's not living, it is a waste of time, a waste of digestion, and has no value in the human body. But yet, raw vegans are out here taking supplements. So that's why I really wanted to do this with you. So I'm sorry, but I needed to get that out because Eli, I thought we were all the same until I started seeing these people on YouTube like promoting these supplements, and some of them make their own. And they're like, you got to take this. But I thought we went raw because we're against that kind of shit. But continues.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. So I've snooped a bunch of these products and just gone to the site, your websites and whatnot, and just taken a look, and you'll find some very nice looking ingredients. Okay, the things that we all want to see. All right, just one product, and it's a whole boot of some sorts. Okay, and all is looking good. Inevitably, though, from some of the people that are leading voices in the community, okay, and then looking at the stuff they sell, inevitably a couple of ingredients or one or two ingredients will show up that I would like flag them. Oh, that's 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 an industry chemical. That's just another name for an industry chemical. And oh, look at that. Oh, that's another name for MSG, right? If you're selling plant protein or a protein powder of some sort, there's there's a good chance that you're selling some sort of MSG derivative in there. Good chance, good chance, or some other industry chemicals. So what it is it's a couple of harsh chemicals that need to be there by default in order to create a shelf stable product filled with a bunch of other things that are supposed to make you feel good and you would caution rates about the product.
Can you have a supplement without a unhealthy ingredient to make it shelf stable? Is it possible to have a supplement that is healthy without any type of preservative?
Healthy is a spectrum.
Right, right.
It's a spectrum.
Is valuable, is good enough for you to ever consider taking?
Y- Oh, for me personally, no,
You.
no,
You.
no, no.
You.
There's no. I
Yeah, we're talking about you.
me personally. Oh no, my whole life, I've never taken these things. I had maybe, um, maybe less than a handful of days where I tried a B12 supplement way back in the day. So I always say this just so I'm being honest.
Yeah, you're like me. Yeah, I was afraid once, or like, I don't know why you did it, but I was like, I don't know. Everyone's telling me, so I feel like I have to. I'm the only one on earth not.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know either. I don't know why. To be honest, it wasn't really scared. I was more curious, more just curious than anything. Will I see a result? Will I see a difference in how I feel after I take this product? So I took it, and bloody nothing happened. And so I was like, screw this. I can't be comfortable taking this green liquid. That's true. Just give me lettuce. Like, what the hell, man? What am I doing? So I just threw it out, and that's
So as a meat eater or a regular member of society, you never did protein powder?
oh god. Yes, I did. Again, not for very long. Um, a month.
Wow. That's rare because usually like gym, people that are really fit and people who go to the gym, they always take protein. So before you went raw, before you were fruitarian, you were not into the supplements either, and you didn't do protein powder. Okay.
Correct. Even before I went vegan, so this is long ages ago. Uh, this would have been before then that I would have tried a protein powders. Uh, that did not last very long at all. And so when I was done with it, it's just this this didn't really help me. This didn't really help me at all. And then all through my vegan years, my conventional cooked vegan years, I didn't use anything. And I was perfectly fine. Perfectly fine.
Yes.
So
So now B12, we want to end off any other information you want to share about B12 because I want to get to protein powder.
if you check your okay, yeah, that's fine. We can end off on B12 and then get into that. If you check your B12 uh, supplements, if you take them, if you see magnesium stearate anywhere or stearic acid, there's a good chance that you're eating like pork belly or GI tract lining, or beef waste product or beef runoff. So like industry fluid and water that has been rinsing off animal products. They can source that. So
What's that word after magnesium? Magnesium spirituate?
stearates or stearic acid. There's a good chance that that is not vegan for one thing. For one thing, there's a lot of problems. With natural vitamins. Okay, so B12. Finish off on B12, and then you can talk about something else. So with natural vitamins, understand that there is no regulation on that word. So, like many things, the industry, the world, social engineers, they dominate your mind by word magic. And logic and mislabeling categories. It is the same way that they have manipulated human minds forever, and they do it to you today. Okay. So the word natural, it doesn't have an industry meaning. It is a nothing burger. It doesn't mean anything. Okay. See, they know you better than you know yourself, and they know that when I throw the word natural at you, or I go to that private labeling company that is just big pharma, and I buy, like I'm going shopping for stuff, and I just buy vitamins. Where they come from, God knows who knows, but there were chemicals involved. So so I buy those things, okay? And there's the word natural. See, to you, you think it means you take something like an orange or a banana or a leaf or an herb or something, and in our minds, natural means they just took that thing and then they just, I don't know, they crushed it up just lovingly. These Italian nonnas are like, basilico, and they're crushing stuff up, and then they lovingly put it into this bottle, and they go, oh, Maronna. That's what you think when you hear the word natural. Okay, that is not that is not what the industry considers natural. I'll run you through a very short list of the things that the industry considers natural. Um, okay. Natural can mean any organic compound, any carbon containing compound is something that's natural, is a natural source. Okay. Anything, anything is natural. Now, if I were to ask you, Jeanette, for your food, for your diet, do you consume anything in the world that is natural? Are all natural things open season to you for your diet? Right? Anything.
No, no,
No, of
no.
course not. No, there's limitations. There's limitations. Just because it's natural doesn't mean it's food.
Yes, because yes, somebody in the chat keeps telling me to drink my own urine. I am not going to. It is natural. It is. I'm good.
Okay, so that's very unprofessional. Okay. Okay. So
They won't leave. Please leave. This is not bye. And don't shake my hand when you see me. Okay, Eli, continue. Continue.
okay. So natural. The industry definition is, well, first of all, it doesn't exist.
No,
So it
doesn't
means it's
exist.
fundamentally different from what you believe or what we all believe in our minds about what natural is. That being said, here are some of the things, the sources that industry can use to create a natural product. Seawater. Okay. So far, so good. Doesn't sound too bad, right? Seawater. Oh, that's natural. The seashells that come in the seawater. Rocks. Sand. Mud.
Oh my God, I can't do it.
Sawdust. Wood shavings. Um, the insects that come on the sawdust or the wood shavings, or even just insects themselves. Um, Fetal bovine serum is a natural product, as well as all sorts of animal runoff from the animal uh, agriculture industry. Digested enzymes from the inner lining of pigs' bellies is a natural product. And that it gets really crazy. Animal effluents, any and all animal effluents. Okay, we're talking straight goddamn sewage. Straight goddamn sewage is a natural product. It's a byproduct of some manufacturing, some industry. Okay, and if it's byproducts and it's carbon containing, the industry can call it natural and not tell you about this source. They don't have to because there's no regulation on this
Where did you learn this? Where did you learn this?
You, I can, you know what? I can send you just some resources, some information, and some good sites to go to.
I won't understand them. You'll have to translate them. Don't even send me. Eli, I can imagine the shit that you read. This is, no, I'm curious because you probably are more like educated than any raw vegan on this planet for sure. And the average person will never even find this information. So I can't even imagine how you dug up, like, where do you find this information?
No, I mean, it's there. It's there, but admittedly, the industry is not forthcoming about it.
No.
Again, go home, just goddamn try. Find me a picture of a hormone. Try. You can't. You can't. You can't. Find me a picture of niacin or thiamine or any of the B vitamins. Show me a picture of those things doing what they say those things do in a way that makes sense to you, in a convincing way. Oh, this series of pictures clearly shows this thing doing this.
Why, Eli, why are we obsessed with B12 and not B11? Why? No, I'm serious. And if anybody has bingo right now, let me know, okay? You get a prize. Now, I'm just curious, why are we obsessed with B12, not B13?
Okay, for many reasons. For one, it's because of marketing, because there's some sort of um expedient to convincing the public that this thing is there and that you need it, and that it tends to show up in animal products. So for one thing, it helps to serve as a justification to prop up the industry, right? And it also gives people something to argue about, right?
This is what I believe, but nobody's ever said it. Continue. Sorry. I just have this inner, like, gut feeling that it's about the veganism thing. It's about you have to eat animals. You have to be afraid. If you don't eat animals, if you don't consume what we're telling you, you're going to have a B12 deficiency and you're going to die.
Yeah. It's all that, but there's a lot more. There are a lot more motivations for why B12 fits into this cluster of vitamins that they need you to believe exists, right? Let me share something with you, okay?
We can't, yeah, no, B12 is the big kicker. We're never going to get off B12. It's so loaded. Continue.
It's a big one. Yeah, it's a big one. How much time do we have left? A real
Well, I know how you roll, so I allocated some time because I know how you roll. But you tell me, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Yeah.
okay, fine. Um, so there was a guy named, oh gosh, you please forgive me. There's a lot swimming around right now. Frederick Gowland Hopkins, I believe, and he won a Nobel Prize for the discovery of vitamins. This is in like the early 20th century, like 1912, 13, something like that. I don't.
What was his name?
Dr. Hopkins,
Thank you.
Frederick Gowland Hopkins. Okay. If you want something to amuse yourself, find information about how his procedure for determining that vitamins existed. Now, for the beginning part of the 20th century, they didn't. Oh, this is frustrating. They simply assumed that vitamins They existed. Why did they do that? Because remember, kind of like I said before, we're coming out of the age of obsession with categorizing life and feverishly trying to identify the atomic structure of everything because we want to mechanize life. So you have to understand that at this time, there is an obsession with doing this and going out into the world and categorizing everything. So scientists, when they get onto the ball with this vitamin thing, they go nuts and they just try to find and isolate chemicals and just, hey, I discovered this, I have discovered that, Roger, I have discovered the existence of, there's just these arrogant men just throwing feces at each other, just doing nothing, just goddamn doing nothing. So okay, so this guy, he wins a Nobel Prize for the discovery of vitamins. Now he didn't discover a vitamin because they didn't even have the technology available to do that, right? It was only the first vitamin was okay, isolated. I'm going to put that word in huge quotes because this isolation is not at all isolation. It's just more industry garbage. Okay. But in the literature, the first vitamin was isolated in 36, I believe, 1936, which means that the whole era of vitamin discoveries prior to that, no, we were just assuming, we were just like, it was a theory that we wanted to be true. So when we did stupid experiments, we simply attached that explanation to the results of the experiment and said, here is vitamin A. So I'll give you an example of what Friedrich Hopkins did in order to determine confidently that vitamins existed. He grabbed a source, a lead source of some sort, right? And he pulverizes it, and then he adds chemicals to it. It's always chemicals. It's always chemicals, right? So they filter it. Then they add chemicals, and then he filters it through some sort of sleeve or sieve. Excuse me, not a sleeve, a sieve. Maybe there's another there's another chemical. So it's like a sulfate or some sort of sodium sulfate or something. There's another chemical on the seed, and he filters this material through it. And okay, now common sense. I have a substance, maybe it's an apple or whatever. I pulverize it. I add 6, 7 different chemicals to that thing, and then I run it through a material mechanical sieve, and add another chemical on top of that. The resulting industry bog of volatile chemicals, he simply said, ah, this must be the vitamin. And that's like that was it. That was it. And so now the people catch on that, oh, he determined that these vitamins exist. Like this must be it. And then he tested that by feeding that thing to animals who use animal assays, and he feeds them some industry runoff. If he sees an effect, then grades. If not, blah, blah. But that material that he came up with could contain hundreds, hundreds of different chemicals. There was nothing in the experiment that actually logically isolated anything. If I want to isolate an apple and I throw in all the fruits I possibly get, bananas, tangerines, kiwis, and I stir it around in a blender, and then I throw some goddamn hexane on it, all right, and then filter through a sieve, and then I say, oh look, there's vitamin Eli. That's a new favorite. Vitamin. It's not a goddamn vitamin. It's just crap. It's just this whole soup of organic material. They because of this obsession, they call it a vitamin, and they have been repeating that process in different ways with different equipment ever since.
So the question, thank you. I'm gonna have to watch this again. But listen,
Yeah.
what do you say? We're just doing B12 today, Eli, because so many questions. What do you say to the people that comment and talk to you and tell you that they were raw or vegan and they became deficient, and then as soon, now they're irreversible nerve damage? Every once in a while, I'm sure you get this comment. And then there's two types of people. One is they started supplementing and all of a sudden they feel better. Well, we know that's placebo. We know that. But what do you say to the people that are like telling you that they became like I don't know if you know who that, his story. Yeah. He says he didn't take B12 and now he's deficient and he has nerve damage. What are your thoughts on that? Specifically, somebody that says that they didn't supplement and they regret it and now they have permanent brain damage and nerve damage.
Okay, so for one thing, the metrics that we use to test for B12 levels, a lot of those metrics are designed to be detecting synthetic B12, right? The type of B12 that is
Tell
added
him.
to animal feed, okay? The type of products that are added and fortified to foods. These are all synthetic B12 in the first place, okay? And so they base those metrics on what you need on a population that is already taking fortified supplements. And
Yes.
okay, so it starts to get very screwy and
Yeah.
it's strange when you really start to think about what, okay, because all these numbers, all these gauges for what we need. Again, this is all coming out of the same era of freakish obsession with categorizing and controlling nature from the top down like God does. Okay? So that's one thing. I could say that. The other thing is that supplements can be very stimulating. They're like, it's like dosing
Like meat.
a hormone, right? Yeah, it can have effects, right? Stimulating metabolically, the invigorating effects because it's like a drug. It is a drug. These things are drugs. And sometimes when you take drugs, you can feel better, but feeling better isn't necessarily getting better. There's there's a very simple thing that you could respond to that. And you could just say, yeah, but meat eaters get B12 just as often as vegans do.
Fact. That's a fact.
So I mean, yeah, I mean, even that, even if I was just operating on that, it would mean that I would have to go back and reconsider what B12 is and whether I am deficient. If the people getting the richest, most abundant sources of B12 are also deficient, it means that my thinking is wrong. It means that I'm something is not correct. So I would have to figure that out.
Are you? Sorry. Continue.
Yeah, and the last element, again, our minds are very, 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 very powerful. If it can skew things. If you believe that there is this thing to worry about, yeah, sure enough, it can start to affect you. Now that I can't come at you with any kind of direct proof that would convince a person in the moment. All right, understandably, but I mean, there it is. Your mind, states of mind will eventually reproduce themselves in physical reality. We see that very, very often, but it's just not recognized for the power that it is. But what can I say? I mean, okay. I am as a raw vegan who eats very minimally, mostly fruit, and some vegetables from time to time. I'm very, very active. Again, very, very active, like with a lot of physical activity. I'm a professional stuntman. I have activity and an exertion, and all this is part of my life. And I've never even sniffed or sussed a B12 supplement. I need say for that one time, like for a couple days.
Yeah, don't
But
say that because then John Kohler's going to find the video and put it up and call you a liar. So continue.
sure. Yeah. So aside from those couple days, then it's not on my mind. It's not. I'm accepting and having faith in the intelligence that this machine was constructed with, and the edifice of science and its offspring, the mindset of scientism, which is a dogmatic belief in science. Okay, what that has caused, it has caused us to be pathologically unfaithful to the wisdom that is inherent in the body and in the mind. And we have learned to not trust those things, but trust the other experts. But it's funny, if you were to go and ask those experts, hey, do you mind? I want to buy this jug of B12. Do you mind running me through what's in it? Because I don't really know. Oh well, it's just this proprietary blend of well, just check the website and they'll have all the information that you want. Oh, check the website. Yeah, okay. Check the goddamn website. Nothing. 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 Check the internet. Oh, I need to see some pictures of B12 doing this thing. Yeah, you'll grow old. You won't find it. It's not there. It's not there because again, just playing smoke and mirrors, man. Smoke and mirrors.
What percentage do you think the placebo effect has on your health in general? What percentage do you think? Because from what I'm gathering from what you're saying is that when we get a blood test and we see we're low in B12, it works on our mind. And if
Yes.
what percentage do you think it is the placebo effect? What you're doing with the fruitarian diet?
That's that's a hard that's a hard question. I don't know if I can confidently give you an answer with that. But what I can confidently say is that there is in fact an influence. It does register on the total spectrum of causality. But it is there. And I guess it would depend on the mind. How strongly do you believe this? How fearful are you? How worried? Like, are you living every single day? Like, okay, I need to eat this to satisfy this. I need to eat that. It's like, oh no, I didn't have my. Oh yeah, I should have that shake because there's this thing in it. Like, and how feverishly worried are you about this? If you are, then that will probably inform your consequences more so than someone else who's just like, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I want to really hone this point to everyone watching. It's not just what Eli's eating, it's also how he's thinking. And he is in the habit of not being afraid. And the people that go on the raw food diet and are in the habit of fear-based thinking are absolutely capable of creating deficiencies, right? And not just deficiencies, but health issues in general. Then they go to the doctor tells them, oh, you're raw. Whoa, that's a problem. You got to do something about it. They don't do that. But okay, you're, yeah, you're not afraid. That's it, Eli. You see, but that comes from other things too, because you've been very like in sports, you're training for your whole life. It's training your mind to not be afraid. You're jumping off buildings and God only knows what you do. I don't really know what you do, but I'm assuming you jump off buildings and shit. I'm assuming.
If you guys could be a fly on the wall and see some of the things that you have to overcome in my job, and people tell me all the time, yeah, you see, Eli, you seem very calm. I'm like, you should see what my day job is like, right? If you could see some of the things that we have to do, you'd watch and like, oh, oh yeah, that explains why he's so calm, right? So maybe that
Can
has
you
to
tell us one of the craziest things you've ever done?
craziest things I've ever done. Let's see. There's lots of things that for most people would be fairly crazy. On top of a building in Cuba, flipping off of a I don't know, a big drop and having to land in between a set of steel beams. And
Okay, yeah,
making
that.
right. So that
But where do you get your B12? Where, Eli? Okay, no, let's focus, guys. Yes, okay, so we do have only like 15 minutes left. So, Eli, let me please ask you real quick. So B12 we covered. Thank you so much. I learned so much and I can't wait to watch this again. I always learn so much from your videos. Guys, if you are not following Eli, I'm going to leave his links on YouTube below. And if you're here on Instagram, just go to FreeMelon Eli. I'm going to put all the links and I'll collaborate on this video. So please follow him. He will change your life. And also the most important part of Eli existing is that he's going to not every time I watch your videos, Eli, I'm not afraid. Like you really make me feel like very confident in my decisions, and I'm not afraid to be raw after I watch your videos. I'm like, oh, yes, it makes sense. When you speak, I know it's truth because it makes sense. It doesn't make sense that we should be afraid once we start eating raw. We should be afraid before. We should be afraid before we go raw. When we're eating Pop-Tarts and Doritos, we should be afraid. Okay, so now vitamin D3. Vitamin D3, do you, what are some, okay, so Eli doesn't take supplements. So we're not going to ask him, does he take them? We're going to ask Eli, what are some of the dangerous side effects of taking a vitamin D3? Just taking it because you should take it, like just in case.
Okay, well, it's all vitamins, D3 included. Okay, all of them are synthesized process by very similar methods. Okay, so it's this adulterated thing where they do a bunch of nonsense involving the most harsh chemicals you could possibly imagine. Petroleum products, the acetones, the uh, what do you call it? Antifreeze, like all of these harsh chemicals. Okay, so they're all produced in the same way. Um, with vitamin D, okay, we're told it's this hormone that we produce when we're in contact with the sun. Now here's the thing. They do whatever analyses they imagine leads them to the conclusion that taking D3s, but the D3, first of all, is the same thing that your body produces. So the stuff that they produce in the lab, that's the exact, like according to them, according to a chemist, it is the exact same thing that happens in your body. Okay. Now, uh, just on principle alone, that is wildly ignorant. Wildly ignorant. No chance of that. Not a chance. But the thing is, it's this. Okay, so it's the sun that's important. It's sun exposure that's important. And when your body is hit with sun rays, there's a whole cascade of things that happen. And one of the things that happens is whatever they think they're seeing with this vitamin D. It's like this residue from the action of sun hitting our bodies. Okay. But that residue in and of itself isn't the magic formula to take in order to give you the benefits of the sun. Right. The sun is what did the benefiting, right? The D3 is just this biomarker, it's just this biological marker that sun exposure has been attained. Okay. But then you have these scientific dogmatists, okay? They come in with their tools and they think they see, oh well, this chemical it exists and we see it show up when people are in the sun. Therefore, see, it's always the explanation where science goes mad. It's always the explanatory process. They're very good, very, very, very good at observing the world. Science is fantastic for that kind of thing. If I want to find information on anatomy, then some people, they're not going to lie to me. I can go and I can confidently put faith into the fact that the bicep tendon inserts here. Like I can pour my faith into that. That's where they shine. But when they have to do interpretation of results or an explanation, they drop the ball. So they see this chemical, this marker, this vitamin D in the blood, and then they say, oh well, it's just a theory. It's just a theory. They just decide that that's the case. This must be the thing that is giving you the benefit of the sun, and it is the same as suck as getting some sun on a nice summer day. Taking this is the same thing. They just make that assumption. They just make it for no reason, for no goddamn reason.
In your opinion, can somebody become deficient by taking these supplements who is not deficient in them?
Could someone be sorry? Could someone
Become deficient by taking these supplements, the B12 and the vitamin D. Could they become deficient by taking these synthetic supplements?
Yes. Okay. Let me tell you something very, very, very quickly. Yes, yes, they can. So all I'll digress. All industries, all chemical processes tend to create byproducts. Okay. Everything our bodies do. You run a machine. There's typically a byproduct associated with that. It happens in industry all the time. Now, byproducts are very, very, very expensive because as a company, as a manufacturer of some products, you have to pay to link to get rid of your waste products, right? To dispose of them properly. It's very, very, very expensive. So any time a company can cut the costs of getting rid of a byproduct, that is gold because there's potentially millions of dollars in a company eliminating the need to expend the cost of removing a byproduct. Okay, so what these geniuses do is you say our
I'm gonna mute because I can't.
our okay, yeah. So what they say is, since we're producing this byproduct, okay, what would be ingenious is if we could find some excuse to sell it to what's another industry that we know that we own already? Oh, the vitamin industry, the food industry. It's genius, guys. Why don't you take our byproduct and convince everybody that those things are food? Oh my goodness. So what they'll do is they'll sell their waste, their crap, their animal effluent, their cobalt refuse, their sawdust, their goddamn camel pancreas fluid. They'll take whatever. They'll take all,
Feces.
yes, feces, straight feces, straight feces. So they'll take that and then they'll sell it. Okay, they'll sell it. And then the vitamin manufacturers will use that material now, pay the company they'll pay the company now to take their waste instead of expending. It's genius. So the manufacturers now take this garbage, they manufacture a vitamin, and then what they do is they treat the human body as waste disposal units. And they never told you. I'm going to say that again. They treat the human body as biological waste disposal units. Why? Because the human digestive system is so unbelievably complex and wonderful and riddled with God-given intelligence that it will make minced meat out of virtually anything. So if they can hide their chemicals in your body, then what that means, they don't, and it's completely invisible. When you get sick, because you take your supplements like a good citizen, when you get sick, eventually, you cannot tie it back to this industry. No way. It's too disconnected. But the magic here is that because Big Pharma is providing and manufacturing both sets of drugs, the pharmaceutical and the nutritional in quotes, it means that if you are hooked onto the vitamin delusion and the scam, then when you fall sick because you diligently take your vitamins, now you go to Big Pharma and they will convince you to take the next set of pharmaceutical grade drugs. But either goddamn way, they have you. They have you.
And yes. And that is the problem with being raw in this society. They're going to fear you into going back into the herd into the majority. You're right now in the minority. If you're eating a raw food diet or a high raw vegan diet, or even a healthy cooked vegan diet, you're in the minority. And they're trying to get you with these supplements to get back into the majority. And Eli, you're so right when you said mincemeat. First of all, this is a vegan channel, so we're gonna say minced jackfruit. But you're right, because the average person is walking around eating, the only nutrition in their diet is the iceberg lettuce on the Big Mac and the slice of tomato, and they're living because of that. One slice of tomato and one piece of romaine lettuce or iceberg lettuce on their Big Mac. That's the only nutrition they have all day, the only real vitamins, minerals, and nutrients, and they're still alive because of that. Because of that. So why in the actual fruit are we concerned about calories, supplements, how much we need to eat, whatever on a raw food diet when the average person is walking around eating one slice of cucumber or one slice of tomato, GMO tomato, okay, on a Big Mac, and they're driving, they're working, they're a functioning member of society, they're okay. The raw vegans don't need to worry. Continue. I'm so sorry.
No, it's good. Yeah, I know, and I can feel the frustrations, and trust me, I get it. I get it. Like it's a very frustrating thing. The first part of this frustration is just trying to find images, images or videos or and because you imagine how could okay part part of the thing here, part of the way out of this hole is to start asking the right questions. Okay, so you have to start asking the right questions. Okay, you ask the average person, how do you think? Okay, they're taking some sort of vitamin pills of some sort, or powders, or injections. Oh my god! And now we're bypassing the processing system of the body and going directly into the case chamber, straight into the blood with no screening by security. Holy moly! Oh my god!
So it's safe to say you're not getting the B12 shot.
No,
Is that what you're saying? Okay.
no, no. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. So, yeah, it comes down to asking the right questions. So you ask someone, how do you think this vitamin got packaged in this bottle? Like, what do you think the process was? Right? Just ask, out of curiosity. Ask, where do you think this vitamin came from? Right? Just a simple question is, why is it that you imagine that we have so much information about these vitamins and what they do, but you can't find a bloody picture of it, or a video, or anything, right? Why is it so difficult for you to find information of how the industry processes these things? Why is that information so obscured behind layers and layers of nonsensical whipra? Why? So asking the right questions, right? Um, because many people will believe something about the vitamins that they're taking that has nothing to do with reality, right? Oh, and if you were trying to um know me as a person, right? You getting to know me. Walk me through it. What are some of the very obvious things that you would do if you just wanted to know what kind of person I was? Walk me through it.
You want me to? See your name. What is your age? Where do you live? What do you like to do? What are you passionate about? Are you subscribed to Ms.FitVegan?
Yeah.
Yeah, YouTube channel. Yeah, what's your favorite book? Yeah.
What's your favorite book? These are all good answers, right? These are just questions that you might ask. Okay. Um, but that's not how scientists would get to know somebody. Right? That's not what they would do. That's not what chemists do. Okay. A, a, a chemist, a chemist would probably drop a massive anvil from the top of the CN Tower, which is Toronto's iconic tower. It's the tallest building in Toronto. They would drop an anvil from the top of the CN Tower and crush the living daylights out of my entire body. Just turn me into a pancake. And then they would probably flame broil that soup on the floor, and then they would start throwing chemicals onto it. And then, okay, and then once they put me in a blender, my remains, and blend me up, okay, throw some more ethanol and antifreeze into that mix, okay, then they're gonna add a resin and put a resin onto it, and so like turn it, like congeal it a little bit, throw it in the freezer, take it out, add some more chemicals. So when they do all that, then imagine what would you say if some chemist did all that to me, and then they told you, by examining the material on this sludge of Eli Martyr juice, okay, we have come to the determination that he liked philosophy. He was a stuntman in his life. He had hazel eyes. He liked to eat watermelon. Okay, what would you say if some scientist came to you and said, "Yeah, we've determined all of this from this brick of martyr sludge"? What would your response be?
That's insane. That's insane.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
it would be insane. It would be insane. It would be absolutely insane because you cannot determine the properties of life by examining its burnt, charred, chemically destroyed remains. You can't. You need to examine life in the living state. Otherwise, you can't come to a clear determination of how that thing operates. So when that influencer tells me that I should eat the powdered, fractionated, shelf-stable products, at the same time, I know that the life has been taken from that thing, and it's not the same. It's not the same. You can't tell me that I grew up on such and such a street by examining the pulverized remains of my ankle bone. You can't. You can't. You need to know me as a living person, a living entity, right? And that's where all the information is. But without that, we're smoke and mirrors, right? Smoke and mirrors.
That was phenomenal. That was it. What you just said, that's it. Drop the mic. We don't need to say anything else. Guys, we don't need to say anything else. Did you get it? Put a watermelon emoji if you got it. If you got it. This doesn't make sense what we're doing. And then you said once, and we're not going to get into it today, but I loved how you said once, like, you don't eat a cheetah's bone to run faster. You know what I'm saying? It don't work like that, bitch. You didn't say the word bitch, but you know, that's what you wanted to say because you were responding to somebody's comment or something. And anyway, the point is that you want to be healthier, but you're eating you're taking something that cannot give you life. It's dead. You cannot get life from something dead. So whether it's, this famous YouTuber that concocted their own supplements, or it's this GNC product, it's the same thing. It's dead. It's dead. We came to the raw food diet because we recognize what Eli just laid out. So, okay, real quick, protein powder. No protein powder. You don't need protein powder. You're not worried about protein powder, right? Okay. Enzymes, iron. Can you tell somebody that it just goes on and on. But what?
Enzymes. 2 seconds.
Please.
Enzymes are you can destroy them very, very easily. You can destroy them very, very easily with heat and processing and whatnot. Okay. So if that's the case, then in order to make a product, a shelf-stable product, I have no choice but to subject it to all the things that destroy enzymes. So at the end of the day, my logic says, well, why don't I just eat the piece of lettuce that you made the product from, and then I would get all the enzymes and not 50% of them or 40% of them, right? Why don't I just do that? If I really need to, right? If I want to be safe, I could eat 2 pieces of lettuce. Huh. I don't know. Christ.
Why do some raw vegans say that they need to have that they CMOS? Do you believe in this CMOS thing? Why do some raw vegans say it's 92 minerals out of the 108 and it's really good for you? What are your thoughts on the CMOS?
Um, my thoughts on the CMOS. Uh, have you have you ever have you ever been to the beach?
I live on the beach.
Okay, yeah, you live on the beach. Have you ever picked up like seaweed, pond scum, any like any of this,
Yes.
and just is it appetizing in any way?
It smells, it's gross, it's slimy, and I avoid it when I'm swimming. But if there was a mango floating, I would not avoid that. But yeah,
Oh,
the seaweed I avoid.
right. Even a child that knows nothing about nutritional anything, you show them an apple or a mango, and they're fascinated. They want to put it in their mouths. They want, oh my God, what is this, right? For one thing, I've done that before. I've even tried, I had to force myself. I found some seaweed just growing on the beach, up from the ocean. Okay. And I picked it up. I'm like, God damn, Martyr. Oh, no. Oh, really? You're going to do this right now? And I tried some. I ate it. And, well, no, I didn't swallow. Like, it was gross. It was gross. It was gross. Uh, So for one thing, if I'm being honest with how I'm designed and my sensitivities, it's hard for me to bring myself to accept seaweed as something that I should be doing every single day. It's very difficult for me to do that. I'm not super opposed to someone including seaweed. I mean, yeah, like, you can, sure, especially if it's just the whole food itself. All right. Um, I'm not super opposed to it. It's just that it would take a lot of convincing to get me to believe that the minerals and the nutrients in that are better absorbed than in fruits. In fact, fruit, because of the nature of fruit, because it's designed as food, the the nutrients in fruits are far more bioavailable than those that come from vegetables. It can be as low as 5 to 10% of the nutrients that you absorb from vegetables. It can be frighteningly low. And with fruits, you find that bioavailability much, much greater. So, so there's that element to consider as well, right? The other element is we are playing on our obsession with we need the most, we need more, we need as much as possible. Whenever we're conducting our eating impulses, we're always taking for granted that the experts say get as much of this as possible. Find the richest, densest source of this accumulation of minerals, and that's the food source that you should be taking. But nobody ever seems to ask, what if the amount of minerals in the food that I naturally resonate with are enough or are in fact what works better in the system? You don't always have to go for the most concentrated collection of nutrients. And assuredly, that's what industry does. Ask someone why they eat sea moss. Inevitably, they will tell you that it's because it contains all the minerals, all these minerals. Nobody is doing it because sea moss tastes great. Nobody's doing that. Everybody I've asked.
You know what they do, Eli? There's companies that they mix it with fruit to make it taste good. You know that, right? You can get mango, you can get
No, I didn't
strawberry
know.
sea moss. Yes.
Oh, of course.
Yes.
I didn't know. I didn't
Okay.
know.
So last question of the day. Well, what if you're eating mostly fruit, right? I think you do eat greens when you want,
Yep.
right? Okay. Very nice. Now, question, what if you went to the doctor, do you get blood tests?
Not nearly as often as the medical community would suggest that I take blood tests.
Yes, Eli was so kind to do an episode with me on this. He came to my private community years ago. Thank you for that. And I'll leave that below. He did a whole entire episode with me on blood tests and how sacred your blood is. And I never knew all the things that he taught me. So I'll leave that below on YouTube. So watch that after this. So you don't really get blood tests too often. Do you need to get blood tests for your job? Like, when's your next blood test, you think?
Until there's a pressing need for you to get one. I won't go into it because there's not much time. I'll do this another day. The last time I got a blood test was because I needed to. I had been poisoned from work with bad air quality, and so my breathing was for a little bit. It was kind of compromised, and it was it was making my heart rate race for it. And it's like, oh, now I just gave it time, and my body cleared it out, right? But I did go in and went, okay, maybe I'll just go in and get checked. And part of the checkup was to get a blood test. They told me that if there's anything that's off or weird about your blood test, we'll contact you. They never contacted me, and they're like, no, honestly, man, you're fine. We can't see on paper. You're like perfect.
Okay, hypothetical question, because you and I are not getting blood tests anytime soon, but the average person is, because they want to go to the doctor to find out if they're healthy, okay, which is another whole interesting concept, to find out if I'm okay. Like, please tell me if I'm okay. But if you got a blood test, Eli, and you were deficient in iron or iodine or anything, I'm just curious, what would you do with that information?
Nothing. Um, I would. Okay, for one thing, for one thing, the those again, those reference ranges, not only are they based on the average population, okay? Not only are they based on average population, but they also take into account all of the fortified supplements that that population already takes. So the numbers by default are horridly skewed in the direction of excess. And remember that period of time that I was talking about in the vitamin discoveries earlier in the 20th century? Okay, so on on top of the colleges and the universities that the uh, groups, like the families, like the Rockefellers and other social engineering groups and other wealthy industrialists and the Schiffs and the Morgans and the Lees, the Kennedy, the Onassis families, all these.
Going deep now. Hold on. I don't want to. I'm going to bleep all those out when I go on YouTube. I'm getting all that shit out. Hold on now.
Fine, fine. But on top of the medical industry that they captured, and the universities and the colleges, okay, they also captured the NGOs that are responsible for coming up with dietary recommendations, the USDA, okay? So, oh gosh, um, they bake into those inflated ranges and numbers. Why? Because they know that the vitamin industry is booming. It's a massive business. So in 1 second, by changing a law or by changing the ranges, the recommended, the RDAs, okay, the RDIs, by adjusting those to suit what the vitamin industry is doing, they can overnight make everybody deficient, which means that they can now convince you to go out and get their bloody vitamins.
Control.
So that whole system, it, you have to understand. This is the difficulty: is that the average person can't even fathom the grandeur, the massive grandeur of the scheme against human value, okay, and the human experience. People couldn't even imagine how many levels this goes up, how many institutions are all tied in this together. It's all of them. It's all of them. All of them. Okay. So again, these reference ranges, they were inflated systematically over time throughout this period of vitamin discoveries. So as they discover new vitamin supplements and whatever, then they up the dosage that you need so that they could sell them.
And starting in 1936, what did we do before 1936?
Nothing. Feces at one another.
How are we here, Eli? How are we here?
Smash them and just isolate, rub them on tomatoes, and then rub them on our faces. Inject them into rabbits' necks, and then the rabbit gets sick, and then oh, sure, the virus was transmitted. It had nothing to do with me.
Oh my god!
Just, I don't know, nonsense. Just nonsense.
Yeah, this is really good. Okay, I want to encourage. No, seriously, you are amazing. You are amazing. I want to encourage. Oh, tell everyone how old are you? You're
42, correct?
I'm 42. Yes, I'm
Thank
sorry.
you. No, it's okay. I'll take it from here. So wait, Eli is 42. I am 40.
Our results will speak for themselves. And you know why he's laughing? Because he's laughing at how stupid you are. Guys, you are taking supplements on a raw food diet. You might as well eat your own shit. The B12 will at least be raw. Do me a favor. Eli said that, not me. But do me a favor. Take your supplements, but don't take them out of fear starting today. You want to take your supplements, take them. But don't you dare be afraid of eating fruit and vegetables. You okay?
Okay, now.
Yeah. So, okay, we're ending this episode. I definitely want to do more. I want to do another episode with you because you're amazing. It's too much to cover. You have a lot of information that most people will never, ever realize. And what's great about you is that you're getting the results too. Because if you were sitting here as a overweight, middle-aged man, I couldn't really take you seriously. You've got the results, you got the information. I think you're one of the most important people in the raw food movement.
Oh, cool.
After me, of course. Like,
Yeah.
don't fucking play yourself. But if only you had hair, perhaps, maybe. But
The thing is that you have the information and the results. And so let's end with a just very simple question. What did you eat? What did you eat today, Eli? We're curious.
Oh my God, my iPad has 1%. 1% on it.
okay.
What did I eat? I had plums. I had a bunch of plums, and it's tomato season, so there's a bunch of bloody tomatoes in the cucina. So I had some tomatoes after I had some plums.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Eli. You're amazing. We'll talk to you soon. You're amazing. Bye. Bye, guys. Thank you so much.